When somebody at church comes up to you and says, I have something you might be interested in, this is what it can turn into. We had somebody's mother heard about the project. That person's son was a member of our church, and he said this is something our church would be interested in. And so as a member of the church, I went and met Leslie Lee when there were about 200, 400 soul boxes. And we sat down and talked about how we could get the church involved. And I said, this is exactly the kind of activism I could really get a hold of.
Soulbox's motto is art revealing the gunfire epidemic. In my life, gunfire affected me before I even knew this person. My mother-in-law, the person who would have been my mother-in-law, died by gunfire before she got to be my mother-in-law, or rather, I got to be her daughter-in-law. And I've got my own grief about that.
The exhibits are fantastic. The exhibits show the numbers. We're supposed to be showing the numbers, but what these soul boxes really do is when people get the chance, people who have been affected by gun violence or gunfire death, people who have lost somebody to suicide, somebody who just can't take the news anymore, family members, friends, when they sit down and fold a box, that's when they can get a little peace.
I am so happy to have been able to do this small thing, fold a soul box and make a difference.
They can take a very tiny action. They don't have to go out and yell and scream in a protest march. They can just take this quiet action.
The other thing about soul boxes for me is it's become really meditative and centering for me, especially during the pandemic, when I felt like I was stuck in a box, not making a difference, just feeling pretty useless.
To me, that's the biggest part. Take away the exhibits. That's blasphemy, I know, but it's that folding of the soul boxes.
I could fold a soul box, or maybe 2, or maybe 20, and I think I've folded somewhere just around 1,000. And it had a really centering, quieting, calming effect for me.
We got to stop using guns as a means of expression and a means of solving problems. Right?
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. We're taking this to Washington, D.C. in October. That exhibit will be approximately 3 times the size of this one.
I started this in 2017 after the Las Vegas shooting. I wasn't really aware of how big this gunfire epidemic is until I was sort of shocked into looking at the statistics. I'm an artist. When I went and looked at those numbers, I thought, they're too big to comprehend. Our brains are not wired just, you can tell people 70,000 people a year are killed or injured, which is what's represented in this exhibit. But what does that mean, especially in terms of lives lost? 70,000? But if you have something that can hold space for each one of those lives and you start piling them up, then people begin to realize how big the issue is. At this point, we have over 180,000 boxes that have been sent in from all over the country. The fact that there are so many people involved is what I think gives us the power. If anybody doesn't believe that a bunch of little paper boxes can make a difference, I say, go look at the AIDS quilt. It made a difference. Not only do we have some victim represented by every single one of these boxes here, we also have the people who cared enough to make a little memorial for them, to count them.
For all the mothers that have lost your children or had them shot in gun violence, and all the families, this one's for you, baby. I took the front line and got on the front lines for my community because nobody was saying anything. So when they shot my son, it became personal. This is my plan for my life. You know, when I try to get away from it, I can't. God just said, no, I chose you, baby. And so I'm honored to be here today and that God is using me. Ooh, He's using me. Ooh, and He can use you too. If you're silent, you're part of the problem. Open up your mouth, your mouth, your mouth. God said the mouth has power. And when we start opening it up, we'll unify, we'll have power, and we'll shut down the devil, and we'll put an end to this violence. Let's do it.
Amen.
Amen.
Our church has folded more than 20,000 soul boxes, and at last time I checked, we have been the most prolific faith organization in the entire country.
I would love to thank First Congregational Church because in the very early part of this, that was the congregation that got together and literally made thousands of boxes that got this thing launched. You know, if you think this is powerful, we can tell you see it on the National Mall, right? Thanks to First Congregational for helping us launch this.